What's up, people? Let me check my mic's on the correct setting. It is fantastic. This is the Seattle Overload podcast. We're going to talk Seattle Seahawks, shocker, but actually prospective Seahawks because we're finishing maybe our tape review series, given we're close to the NFL draft now. It starts this Thursday, but we're going to look at guards in the draft class because the Seahawks need guards. But before that, the preamble. If you don't like the preamble, then boo, but also I will have included timestamps so you can skip the preamble. So there you go. Griff.
Yeah.
Do you have Easter eggs?
What do you mean, like real Easter eggs? Easter's over. That was last month.
Yeah, but I'm eating an Easter egg.
Oh, nice.
Which is like
Cadbury?
bad podcasting, right? Because it will make it clammy, you know? Like the voice.
That's fine. Who cares?
Yeah, it's fine. My voice actually sounds hoarse because I was shouting earlier today. So.
Maddie was coaching, and
I was just shouting into the void.
He was shouting his team to a 50-0 victory. He won't say it, so I have to say it for him.
There's a bit more, but it's fine.
Even more than that. Matty F. Brown is using Pete Carroll fundamentals, Monty Kiffin fundamentals his way into defensive dominance.
Yeah, well, good start to the season, but truly, you know, it's how we respond to that victory.
Yeah, that's right.
Which will define our season.
There you go. Hell yeah. Well, want to know every week.
Yeah.
No
on
matter
to Canterbury.
On to Canterbury. Is that the next team?
Yes.
Nice.
They're gonna go pop and see the Archbishop, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Give him a how's your father?
Yeah. How's Big Dog doing? You know?
Yep.
Nice cathedral you got here.
Mm-hmm. Maddie, speaking of, you've seen Austin Powers, right?
Yeah. I really wanted to answer that in like an Austin Powers way. Like, yeah, baby.
It's so stupid. It's so funny though.
You know, it's funny as well because we were shown that in. I think like this makes my school sound proper whack, like weird, not whack like bad, like wacky.
Yeah.
But we were shown that in, I guess it was year 7, so I guess we were 10, and we did like the dance routine from it.
Oh really? That's funny.
What's that song which it plays? It's like
yeah.
What is that? Who is that? Is that
I think it's original to Austin Powers.
No. Hell no. Because it's in the Italian Job as well, I think.
Oh, Soul Bossa Nova.
Yeah, that's right.
Of course
that's right.
So that's why, because they're spoofing a lot of that too. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, we had to do a dance to that, but then, I mean, hey, you're 10, you got to learn somehow about these things.
Mm-hmm.
So my exposure to well, no, that wasn't my first exposure, I guess, but I learned a lot about relationships from Austin Powers.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hey, first exposure for everything. Now, okay, you want an Easter egg? So the first surgery
No, you don't understand. I have an Easter egg.
No, I know, but it also a figurative one.
A non-chocolate one, right?
Matty, how long ago do you think the first known surgery was performed by a human being on another human being?
Known. So that will be like when the oldest book, right? So oldest record. Oh, it could be like the Battle of Hastings. Could be like the Bayeux Tapestry.
Hastings was 1,000 years ago.
I know. But it could be like the like I'm gonna say like 1066.
All right? I know they've been performing surgery since before that.
Yeah, but they haven't recorded it.
Okay, so it wasn't necessarily recorded. Evidence of it could.
Oh well, now hold on, now, chat. Did he or did he not say recorded?
Okay, that we know of. The first surgery that we know of.
Oh well, that's very different, isn't it? Well, that's a very different question, isn't it?
Yeah, Plus, I'm sure the Romans and the Greeks and the Egyptians had records of it, but
right.
we're going back a while here.
Yeah, like what about ancient Egypt? Like a hieroglyphic of it.
Even before, you want to have your mind blown.
Oh, what about cavemen paintings?
Yes, it's not a painting even, but you're on the right track. It's before the agricultural revolution, so we're talking the Paleolithic here.
Wow. And what type of surgery was it?
It was a leg amputation performed on a child.
If it's bad, oh, damn. I mean, if it's bad, it's got to go. You got to cut that out.
Yeah, you want to get the bad flesh out of there, right?
Yeah.
Now you wonder what. So this was 31,000 years ago on the island of Borneo, per my colleague Google.
Wow.
But we were talking about this before we went live, man. Like, what did hunter-gatherers when they suffered a physically traumatic injury, like it was just over? Like,
yeah, it's night.
It's what do you do? But the fact that happened 31,000 years ago, we can hazard the guess that they were probably doing it well before then. That's just when we found evidence for it, right?
Well, this is an even more stupid question. Was Borneo an island back then?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe so.
Okay. Right. Well, that was good.
Yeah, that was real nice. Okay, cool.
Jody, that's cool you're watching that program, but I don't know why, like, I'm not, just because I'm British doesn't mean, it's kind of, you're making assumptions there. Sham, we were late. Jen, thank you for loving the preamble. Andrew, top of the morning to you too.
Matty, it could have been the sea levels actually. It could have been more connected via land bridges around that period.
Thank you. Huh.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Because that was before. That was well before the Ice Age.
Soukman, yes, I'm aware that the word soccer is English. Andrew, good to see you. Right. Shall we, I have a feeling I'm going to sneeze. Oh dear. Maybe I could time it up with me hitting it.
Before it ended, I meant to say.
You ready to hit it?
Hit it.
Welcome to the Seattle Overload podcast, where, as the NFL draft is this Thursday, Griff and I are finishing off our Seahawks prospect tape review when we're looking at the 2024 NFL draft class offensive guards. Now, the way this class is constructed, there are some centers to take a look at as well. Guys who could play guard, but they could play center. What do you do with Oluwatimi? All of that type of discussion. But first, this is the big position when it comes to Seattle's draft needs. Now, it's not that they haven't filled it, but when Damian Lewis got paid in free agency, and when we say paid, he signed a 4-year deal, which was almost $60 million worth. Like, it was significant. It led to John Schneider, not exactly directly, but he made a comment about drafts being overvalued and overdrafted and overpaid. I've completely butchered that, but he then signed Tremaine Ankrum, former Rams guy, and Ankrum is not really earning too much money, just over $1 million for 1 year. Then they signed veteran Laken Tomlinson, who's 32 years old, for, again, 1 year, $1.2 million worth of contract. And then finally they have Curtis McClendon, who was on the practice squad last year, was called up a bit, but he's on a ERFA tender. So there's not much invested at the guard position right now. Of course, you've got Anthony Bradford, the 4th-round rookie, who's the projected starter at right guard. He's had his struggles in pass protection. He was a 4th-round pick for a reason as well. Was thrust into action last year, maybe when they didn't expect him to be, with the kind of injury problems they had with Phil Haynes in particular. Phil Haynes still unsigned, by the way. But right now it's Tomlinson, who's been available, but he's he's getting up there in age, didn't impress the Jets fans. We spoke about his signing. And then Ankrum kind of battling out for left guard with McLennan presumably being the kind of fill-in piece. So guard is a real need. Why is it so important as well? Well, if you look at the Geno Smith numbers, Geno Smith was pressured a heck of a lot last year, and it would be nice, given his style of quarterback play, which I think he can extend the play a bit better maybe than some people think. That being said, he's a pocket style quarterback. It would be nice to keep him upright and not under pressure. And when let me bring it up, when he's the 6th most pressured quarterback in the NFL, despite taking the 26th amount of sacks percentage-wise, suggesting that's mainly pass protection rather than the quarterback, or at least he is mitigating the pressure of turning into sacks. And on third downs, he's pressured 50.9% of the time, the 3rd most in the league. Offensive line, given what Geno Smith's done when pass protected, where he had that second half of the season improvement, in which Seattle improved all of their pass protection, other than on third down, really, and Geno kind of thrived through every single aspect of that, because even on the downs where you're not pressured, you're going to improve because suddenly your clock's less sped up, etc., etc. Pass protection is really important for Seattle, Griff.
Yes, indeed. I think the single biggest thing that can improve the team all across the board is improving the guard play. That's generally a tricky spot to be in, though, because typically the league and teams, and especially the Seahawks, don't value guard in the first round, because you can find quality guards day 2, even early day 3. And if you look across the league at where most of the best guards are playing, a lot of them are drafted in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round. A lot of the ones that get drafted super early, the results are fairly mixed, and especially so relative to what goes on in day 2 and day 3. So, it's a really weird spot to be in. But what makes it even more interesting, though, is that this just so happens to be an incredibly guard-rich draft as well as a tackle-rich draft. And as we know, there are tackles that can even switch to guard. So it might actually even be worth it to kind of break from tendency there, in spite of what Schneider has said. And if there is just an absolute stud at 16, and there very well could be, that might be the move. When we discuss the notion of a trade back into the 20s, that's when you start to play with fire a little bit. So, will Barton still be there, for example? Will Graham Barton be there? I think Fautanu will be gone in the top 20. So you got to be really careful here. There are other good guards, but I do think that there is a true talent drop off, and it's just such a unique, position to be in, to actually get hey, if you could just snap your fingers and get elite guard play, what that would do for where we saw the offense succeed and fail last year, what that would do for the whole team's chances. It's an interesting situation to be in, but they have to balance it with the desire to also pick as many times as you can on day 2. So it's a weird spot to be in, and I don't think there's an easy answer.
No. And as you said, John Schneider, he made that comment about guards getting overdrafted, but surely with the drop-off that is present, and his comments on the radio, which we talked about in our previous show, where he was saying that this, each draft has about 15 to 20 first-round picks in any given draft. Obviously, Seattle's picking at 16, and even if you regard a couple of the quarterbacks as first-round talents, if 4 are going in the first round, at 16 you'll get your shot at one of these 15 to 20 first-round picks. If you trade down, you're not going to get that, and it could well be that the guard is the guy, and Troy Fautanu is How would you pronounce Troy's surname, Griff? How would
so
you
it was Fautanu or Fautanu.
Fautanu, of course. Thank you. Sorry, my British slipped in. Not that I don't think that's a particularly British way of pronouncing Fautanu, but anyway, yeah. So maybe it's not Seahawky, but it would just be such a reassurance to get to get that level of guard, and then you just don't have to worry about it. Now, it could well be. Now, you'd have to cast your minds back. Remember, Quentin Nelson with the Colts, he was a pick 6 overall in 2018. I don't think Troy's that quite that level of player, but and I also think with the quarterbacks, just generally guys are going to get pushed down a bit more. It's a different draft to 2018.
Right.
But would it be shocking to see him go 10?
I don't think so. I think he could go anywhere between like 10 and 20, honestly.
Right.
And I think his over under is set at 16 and a half.
Right.
It's just there are so many tackles in this draft, and I'm sure some teams are still going to view him as a tackle because he's still a really good tackle. Same with Barton. Barton can absolutely play tackle. People are even talking about him at center. So, but we just kind of think like, well, they're the guards in the class, right?
Yeah.
But I think the more that teams do view them as tackles, the better, because that adds to the tackle depth, therefore increasing their chances that they'll be available to Seattle when and where they want them to be.
Yeah.
So,
And Fautanu, when he was playing at Washington, they moved him around so much. So that really stands out on his tape how sometimes he's playing as like the almost the sixth lineman, almost in a tight end spot when they're going unbalanced to get favorable running looks, favorable edges for protection. Sometimes playing left, sometimes playing right. It was very interesting how Ryan Grubb deployed him. It speaks to how highly he viewed Troy. And testing wise, MathBomb has him as the 72nd offensive tackle ever since 1987 to 2024 in RAS score, relative athletic score. So that speaks to the level of athlete he is at tackle. So Griff, why is there this kind of, other than Seattle needing a guard and having, in theory, their two tackle spots locked up in Abraham Lucas on the right side, Charles Cross on the left side. Obviously, Lucas, we need to see if, how that knee procedure went, if he's actually going to be able to play. They signed a hedge in George Fant to kind of cover that NFL vet. But why is there a discussion about Fautanu playing guard rather than tackle?
I think superficially what jumps out is two things. One, he's 6'3", so he's shorter than most tackles are. People typically want tackles to be 6'4" at the minimum. And then the other component is that just ranking him against the other tackles in the class, he's like tackle 5 or whatever, which is not a criticism of Fautanu. This just so happens to be like a 1 in every 10-year type of draft at tackle. Like, it's so good. There's so much depth there. I think now those are the superficial reasons. If when you dig into his tape, the reason why I think the NFL might want to try to move him to guard is that the way that he sets, I mean, he kind of plays with fire a little bit. He has so much variety and he has so much like breadth to his game. And he's kind of trying to use all of it at once, that sometimes he's not setting like consistently the way I think a O-line coach Pierce would want him to. And I think that play style is just more conducive to guard, like a really wide base. He plays low. He's really active and reactive, and he tends to lean a little bit too much. But they're all things that can be harnessed that can lend itself well to guard.
The thinking being like that sort of activity is not necessarily impatience, but it's a want to be right in the thick of the action, and guard, you're going to be quicker into the action than you would be at tackle.
Yeah.
There's less of a waiting game.
And speaking to the height thing, like height is a means to an end, or it can be. How well you act, what you actually do with the height that you have is really what determines what your game is conducive to and what it isn't. And the way that he plays his actual play style is very much like truly like, yeah, he'd kill at guard. He'd be amazing at guard. So I totally see it with him. I think he'd be a great guard. Now, I do think that he can lean a little too much. Like, He's not as controlled as he can be. But when he can rein it in, though, like the ceiling is sky high. The foot quickness for his size is just insane. Like he's so, I mean, he's almost quicker than Charles Cross in terms of just like lateral movement.
Wow.
So,
Right. So the other two, or maybe you only mentioned one name, but there's two other names who are viewed purely as like interior guys, and then maybe we should talk about the tackles who could fall in the first round, who you could kick into guard. So first up is Graham Barton out of Duke. Now, these are names which they've actually been kind of theorized as centers. Because they have that either in the background or, other reasons as well. Was Barton at the Shrine Bowl?
I don't know.
Anyway, regardless, he tested really well, and I mean, he's incredibly strong on tape, isn't he, Griff? Just a really kind of solid interior player who, at 16, that would be very rich, wouldn't it? Just because of just the positional value discussion.
Yeah, I mean, it's that same conversation, right? I think in a perfect world, you can get another second round pick or early third round pick and still pick in the low 20s, and Barton is there. I think that is the sweet spot. Also, watching them, like, I'm not convinced that he's worse than Fautanu. He's different.
Yeah, he's just a different type of player, right?
Yeah,
he doesn't have the glitzy tackle reps because he didn't play there, but he's...
Well, he did play some, but he is so controlled. He's so controlled.
Right. And like into contact and just his ability to strike people and move them and displace them while not getting over his skis, like contact balance.
Yeah.
And
I think fundamentally he's at a better place than Fautanu is right now. He just doesn't have as much in his bag as Fautanu does, which is a weird thing to say for an offensive lineman, but Fautanu likes to mix it up so much with different techniques.
Right.
Barton's just more consistent.
So that's quite funny as well, because we haven't spoke of that as a negative, but it's a potential reason to move him into guard. So it's not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious how Huff will view it, because obviously Huff and Grubb, because obviously they know Fautanu as well as you can know him. But like watching him against Texas, like he gives up those early reps to Murphy, and it's like he's just not playing it right, and then he corrects, right? Then he does better. But then he has some reps against Michigan where he is playing guard and he gets kind of worked a little bit. Like those late counters, because he gets, like you were saying, he gets so far over his skis at times because he's just trying to be so aggressive.
Yeah, he's an over the skis player sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I have no doubt he can rein that in, because the ceiling is sky high. I'm not talking about him like he's raw. Like he's not a raw player. He can just improve, like clean it up a little bit. Barton though is just so ridiculously consistent. And like he tested well. Like I don't think we should think of him as having like a lower ceiling necessarily. It's really just kind of different. Like he can be bull rushed occasionally because he is 6'5", and he can get uprooted a little bit. He can anchor late at times, but I'd say generally his anchor is fine. But they can get him occasionally. So, but any one of those two, they send
I completely forgot he played left tackle against Clemson when I was watching him.
Yeah.
I don't know why I blanked on that. But I guess the reason I did is because I've just got in my mind that there's been all the center discussion. For some reason, I think people thought he was shorter arm length than he is, but he's still got only 32.875 inch length arms, so under 33 inches just.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I mean, per math bomb, he's the second most athletic guard since 1987. So in RAS,
yeah.
so like,
insane.
Yes. So maybe at 16 is not too rich for him. I just think it's with Duke again, not his fault, but haven't seen him in the Senior Bowl or like an All-Star event. I don't think because I think he was, he's almost too good for that stuff.
Yeah,
Unless I've got the Shrine Bowl thing wrong, but I don't think I have. Obviously, the Senior Bowl is meant to be better. Anyway, and then yeah, the level of comp, like he's at Duke, he's playing Clemson. Like I've watched him against Clemson, and then some highlights against other not the best conference teams. So
right,
you just I guess it all gets factored into the eval, right?
right,
Um,
indeed.
yeah. So yeah, 34 career starts at left tackle, 5 at center.
So, I mean, in
So is
my
the
view,
projection to left guard as well.
yeah, and I would prefer to have him at guard just because I think Oluwatimi can be average, maybe even better. A a offensive line of Cross, a healthy offensive line of Cross, Graham, Oluwatimi, question mark at right guard, maybe give Bradford, another season, right? And then Abe Lucas. If that group can stay together, that group can be really, really good. And that just, again, the entirety of the offense, like they do not have that far to climb. We still should be talking about them as ending the season last year as the 10th ranked offense in the league in the aggregate. Over the second half of the season, they were like the 6th ranked offense. And that was even those Drew Lock games. So that speaks to the general ceiling of the team and then also how poor the O line was. And on early downs, when the O line is less of an, when it's the weakness of the O line is less impactful, on early downs, they were the 3rd ranked offense in the entire league, up there with Shanahan, up there with the Dolphins, up there with the Bills, like insanely elite. And then it goes down the toilet on 3rd downs because the protection is just so poor in pure dropback situations. So, and then when Lucas gets back in the lineup, those numbers improve to about average. And that's with like microscopic level improvement, but just the chemistry. Like, even if they weren't taking on blocks well individually, they were handling games and twists better, handling, pressures better and stuff and blitzes better just because of the communication, right? Without it being a carousel at right guard and right tackle. So once that's sorted out, look how much they improved. Then imagine actually, like, I mean, I think Damian Lewis is a loss, right? But Graham, Barton, or Fautanu is an upgrade on him even. Getting them all out there together, I mean, you're talking about being able to access your top 5 statistics on early downs, being able to access that on late downs. Then what are you overall? Your top 5. Like the ceiling with this group with Geno at quarterback, the receiving core, and if the scheme is everything that it's cracked up to be, which I think it can be, going guard this early can improve the team to such heights, ways that we don't even think about them. So that early down, late down discrepancy can't be underemphasized, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, you've covered that frequently, and I didn't steal your take, but I think you were the first person that I saw talking about that, and I stuck it in my Seahawks on Tape article about the numbers showing that Geno Smith should be Seattle's future quarterback when there was some questions over whether he was going to remain in that role with the new regime. And if you look at if you look at total points, for instance, and you look at first and second down, and third down, and you split it like that, it was remarkable how even on first and second down without pressure, Geno was the 12th. He was the 12th best quarterback without pressure in the first 8 games. And the first quarterback with pressure on first and second down in total points. But it was third down, which was the straw which broke the camel's back in the first 8 games, where 38th quarterback without pressure and 19th quarterback with pressure. Then the last 7 games, everything improves. Just on the stuff where he was doing poorly when playing with pressure, his performance dipped slightly, but without pressure, he really improved, which I think just spoke to him being pressured less overall. And then, without pressure, third down, he's the 7th best quarterback in the NFL, but with pressure, he's still 15th. So it's the only thing where he's not getting towards those top 10 numbers because the third down the third down stuff just
that prohibitive.
Yeah, and it didn't improve. Like, they actually got worse pressure percentage wise on third down. He was the seventh most pressured quarterback on third down, but that was the quarterbacks ahead of him were like Titans guys, guys who invite pressure, not Geno style. He's pressured on 51.3% of third downs in the last 7 games. So, yeah, this is very important, and when you phrase it like that, Griff, kind of gets me thinking. Well, hang on, this could be obvious, no? Now, the other guy who gets spoke about just as an interior dude, and is another center type candidate, is Oregon's Jackson Powers-Johnson. Now,
yes.
While Barton was invited to the Senior Bowl, as Sukman points out, and he withdrew with a lower body injury, Powers-Johnson attended the Senior Bowl, so we might be able to stick on some Senior Bowl tape in a second. Now, what's the pitch on him? He obviously has shorter arms. Like, he's 32 and 1/8 of an inch long arms, which immediately you're thinking, is that a problem for Seattle? Like, is that prohibitive?
Yeah.
Because they like 33-inch long arms. Who doesn't, right? But I think Schneider, coming from the Ron Wolf stuff, what he's shown in Seattle as well, I think generally he is a size thresholds type guy. Now, it'll be interesting to see how that continues without Pete and with a new head coach and new offensive staff as well. But I think generally, if he's going to invest first round pick on someone, 32 and 1/8 inch arms, he straight up might be like, nah, which sounds crazy, but.
Plus, I think Jackson Powers-Johnson, I think he falls to the second round anyway. I think the league will drop him. I just don't think the league wants to draft a pure center that early, especially with the arm thing. But he is a hell of a center, so.
Yeah, we saw that with Creed Humphrey, right? Now, everyone was like, hey, he's a damn good center.
Yeah.
And as Seahawks fans know, he fell to D. Eskridge territory in the draft, so.
And then same with Michael Schmitz.
Yes. What great name, John Michael Schmitz. Excellent. Anyway, so before we sort of talk about the split and the dudes who kind of got hyped up and then maybe down a bit, there is also the potential that, given how there's so many potential first-round tackles in the class, double potential there, brilliant. But some of them are going to drop a bit, inevitably. Like Tyler Guyton in a different draft class where it's tackle light, he could be in the teens, right? But it's just presumed he's going to be end of the first round.
Right.
A 6'8" guy who looks nimble on his feet. That doesn't always happen in the draft. Now, he's probably not someone you're going to kick inside the guard. Nor, despite our best efforts in that mock draft, is Georgia's Amarius Mims.
No, not at 6'8".
Love how you tried to keep that realistic, and then we're like, hey, let's play a 6'8" guy right guard.
Now, if they do go tackle him, then does that mean in the rare event that they do go tackle, or in the off chance they do,
right?
Is that a signal to Lucas's health, or does that mean they would consider moving Lucas to guard?
I mean, it has. You have to take it as a signal on Lucas's health. It could not be, but you'd have to, right? It would lead to very much justified speculation.
Because I don't think he could play guard. So if they do take him, my initial reaction would be, oh no, they're worried about his availability.
Well, I'm interested in that. Why do you think he can't play guard?
I think that he's too high, and I don't think he comes out. I mean, he just gives up too much of his chest. Like, that can happen on the edge sometimes with him. If it happens outside, it's definitely going to happen inside. I just don't think that's...
He's a tool player, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it works for him outside.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, it's not dangerously tall, but when you put someone inside, then it probably is going to be right. I mean, how tall is he? He's like 6'5", right?
Yeah. He's not like super tall. It's just play style.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and I wonder, not to get too weird about it, but how long are the legs compared to the upper body and all that stuff? I don't know. Right. So in terms of tackle conversions, Griff, now these are some that are straight up. I've borrowed, read the work of Brandon Thorn, who's obviously the guy to go to when it comes to offensive line play in the NFL and college. Just unreal, unreal stuff. He's done stuff for Bleacher Report. He also has his Substack. So make sure you check out his work if you haven't already, but you probably have. Now, are there any tackles who you'd be like, yes, we'll take them. I'm not gonna read too much into it and be like, this guy's a sign that Lucas is hurt. Other than Troy, who else is there that in the first round you'd be like, oh, that's the tackle convert to go to guard. They just couldn't pass out that type of value, and it's a cool like end of first round, maybe after the trade down pick.
Well, so I think I think there are 3 names in total that you could fathom as a guard convert.
Okay.
And that's Fautanu, Barton, and then the third guy is Fuaga, but I don't think Fuaga is going to drop.
And that's Talise Fuaga out of Oregon State, who is he kind of struggles out in space, right? In pass pro.
He can. It's just I think he could handle guard fine.
No, yeah, I meant as that's why you're converting him from tackle, is because he kind of gets he almost plays short, right, and gives up the corner.
Yeah, yes, he can. And then the other guy, I think it's the Yale guy, Karan Amegaji. I think he's talked about as guard, but it's more like a second round type thing. So he's another name. He's got really long arms.
He's 6'5". I can't confirm that's a name.
And then I think Patrick Paul has been talked about as guard, and I've seen him at tackle. Like I could see it. There's nothing that like, sticks out super like, oh, he needs to play guard, but more like, yeah, I guess he could type of thing. So,
well, the final name I wanted to add, because I know you weren't particularly sold on the idea, but it's something that Brandon Thorn theorized as well, was Jordan Morgan from Arizona.
Oh yeah.
Thorn's thinking was he wrote pads rise when speed rush and the inside shoulder gets lifted on inside power moves, opens hips early in pass pro and oversets, heavy feet in pass pro, bad at tackle end stunts. So, but he does not. Just looking at him, I just don't like. It doesn't look Seahawky as a player. But it's an option. So really, what we're saying is we'd like Barton, we'd like Fautanu.
Yes.
And then Jackson Powers Johnson just doesn't feel like a Schneider pick, and it feels like it could happen later if you wanted to do it. But like Olu Oluwatimi in limited action looked okay last year, and you would be hoping that he comes on.
Yeah.
So then after that, Fuaga, is that is that someone you could see them taking?
Oh yeah, definitely. I might think they'd be ecstatic if he was there. I just don't see that happening.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what it comes down to.
Who Thorne identified as his best zone blocker in the draft. Okay, so after that, there's a bit of a drop off. So there's names like Cooper Beebe out of Kansas State, Christian Haynes out of UConn, who we took very early in our mock draft. Then Isaiah Adams out of Illinois, Christian Mahogany, Boston College, Dominic Pooney, Kansas, Mason McCormick, South Dakota State, Zach Zinter, Michigan, Delmar Glaze, Maryland. Griff, where do you want to take it?
So yeah, that next shelf, I think BB headlines that, and he's good. He's got a really good anchor. His feet can be a problem though. He can give up the outside. His technique is good. But I do think that it's a little bit more like he could be. I mean, the pitch for him is that like he could be Gabe Jackson, which is similar to what Damian Lewis was like. And honestly, he just seems like a Damian Lewis level prospect. He's okay. He's good in protection, but he's not great. And I don't think there's a lot of potential there to be better than that. The run blocking is really nice. He can really dig guys out, especially in a shotgun where you need to get immediate displacement on the backside of zone. He can really move bodies. So
He was down blocking the crap out of people, right?
Yeah, he can down block too. Yeah. So he can help build that wall for the gap scheme stuff, which we know will be really important with Grubb's offense. So,
but
and he can pull. He likes to kick guys out and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's just he's a day 2 prospect, which is totally fine. But to me, it's like he's just kind of getting you back to baseline, which is a goal here. They need to get back to baseline, but then it's a rookie getting you back to baseline, and rookies are rookies. So it's really more like if they view the O-line as a crisis and they really need to improve it big time, you kind of have to go O-line in the first. And I do think that's the most important thing that they do in this draft. That said, that's me saying that relative to what happened last year, the tackle simply saying healthy is still the most important thing that can happen. And you can get away with just replacement level guard play if Cross and Lucas can stay healthy, because Geno can take care of the rest. Geno can't manage average or bad or worse guard protection and injured tackles. You got to pick a side. You got to choose one struggle. So, I would still be fine with BB. Like if they forego O-line in the first and they take BB in the second or third even, I'd be like, okay, that's the best they can do. Okay, cool.
For me, I'd be really surprised by BB.
Yeah.
And the very simple reason is such a basic analysis, but it's the 31.5-inch long arms. Like, for Schneider to do that when he likes length, like, I'd be very surprised. And it'll be interesting to see how many NFL teams that is a problem for. Does he fall a bit further than maybe, tape-wise you might have expected?
Yeah. Right.
So, because I think a lot of people say he's a second-round player, right?
Yeah, some people have said a fringe first. I just don't quite see the potential.
Fringe first, wow. Yeah, so, he's thought of that highly, but it also, to me, it wouldn't be surprising if he falls to the third round just because of the arms, which sounds ridiculous, but the teams have these thresholds for reasons.
Indeed.
Right. So, if not BB, there's you want to talk Kansas's Dominic Pooney, another Senior Bowl guy?
Or... Pooney to me is he's being talked about at moving to guard because he's just an undersized tackle, but then he plays with too narrow a base and he's just not powerful enough to be a guard. He's a finesse tackle who's undersized, and he's really not good enough at guard. And I mean, he's really not that good of a tackle, like technique wise.
No.
I just don't think he'll be good, period. I guess I just wasn't a fan of him. So, I was just kind of sour on him. The other you
don't like his body control? He's big. He doesn't look too heavy, does he? He kind of
I think he looks small. I think he plays small.
Wow.
So, and he gets walked back a lot, man.
But he's 6'5", 313 pounds. Like he's at least
313 at 6'5" isn't great density.
Wow.
In my opinion.
Eat some more greens.
So when I watched him, I just wasn't a fan. But I do think the other second rounder that I am a fan of, though, is Christian Haynes. He can really move people in the run game. Protection, he has a really good anchor, although some pure speed rushers, he will give up the outside on. I think but then he has games where he's locked down. So I wonder with him. I'd be okay with that. He did play right guard mostly.
Yeah, he had over four. I think every single start of his came at right guard. 49 starts at right guard. 51 games played, all of them at right guard.
Yeah,
So I think when it comes to him, what you had mentioned when we talk guards as well, and just linemen is. I don't know how much of a trend it is versus like a happy coincidence where they're like, hey, it's an added bonus, but they do like taking a lineman who's played multiple spots
true.
and just a pure guy who plays right guard, especially when you've got Bradford, who in theory is your highest upside guard right now. Is that something they want to do? Is that a silly reason to just pass up the what if he's your best guard on the board? You just take your best guard on the board. I don't know, but it's definitely a factor. Now, before we look at the tape, because Haynes was oh no, wait a second. Haynes might have been a Shrine Bowl guy. No, he was the Senior Bowl. Of course he was. Yeah, he played left guard and centre at the Senior Bowl. So did Pooney. So we were able to look at some tape for these dudes. But before that, I just want to mention that the other factor to this guard position is: have you seen how old these guys are, Griff?
Yeah, I think
It's
it's
insane.
the last vestiges of
It's insane.
COVID, the COVID impact there.
So all of them, every single guy I've spoke about are seniors, but there are some super seniors because of the COVID stuff. So Fautanu it will be 24 when the season's going. He's a fifth year senior. Morgan, fifth year senior, he'll be 23. BB, fifth year senior, he'll be 23. Haynes, sixth year senior, he's 24. Pooney, sixth year senior, he's 24. Isaiah Adams, who we haven't spoke about, really struggled at the Senior Bowl. I think you'll see some of that. He's turning 24. Mahogany, we haven't talked about him, Griff, but he's a fifth year senior,
Yeah.
23, turning 24. McCormick, who's another guy, sixth year senior, 24. So yeah, Mahogany and McCormick, the two like really athletic guys who, yeah, where do you want to take that? What do you think of McCormick?
So McCormick is incredibly athletic. That shows his combine shows up on tape immediately.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
He's just the definition of a project, just very raw. He'll have reps where he moves a guy. He'll have reps where he shuts down a speed rush, and then he'll have reps where a jab step sends him into a tizzy, and he completely loses the guy to the outside. His feet can be really inconsistent. Like he'll cover set a guy, and then the next rep he just won't set to the same width.
yeah. I was trying to work out if that is that because he's just so athletic that he feels he can just get away with it. Like he doesn't need to. He's like almost
Right.
bored by this.
Like he's vibing, but he
Right,
needs
right.
that's not going to work in the NFL.
No,
though.
no, and that's where again, not his fault, right? But that's where the South Dakota State comes in. You're the eighth most
Yeah.
athletic guard since 1987. So,
Right.
and you're playing against guys who are not that level of athlete generally.
When he played Iowa,
Right.
like he was getting beat up pretty bad. So
Ooh, okay.
and that's a real
By who?
like Logan Lee. So who I
Right.
actually find interesting as like a big edge type.
Right.
Um,
Not out in this draft.
did he? I think he did declare.
He did.
Yeah,
Interesting.
he might have ran out of eligibility anyway. But like Logan Lee was just hitting him with like Michael Bennett stuff, like jab club, boom in the backfield, and then he got bull
Right.
rushed.
And he wasn't moving his feet, or
He was moving his feet. He was biting on the. He was just
Ooh,
biting too much.
don't want to bite.
Like on the jab step, he was just trying to get his hands into him, and then he's just whiffing, like
Right.
really ugly reps. And then there's another one where Lee like shimmies and the shimmy bowls him, and then he just gets frozen by it, like it's like a reactive thing.
Oh, right. So he just had him like,
He was just
cooked.
getting cooked. Yeah, he
Yeah,
was getting
yeah.
cooked.
Right. Okay. So interesting. So that sounds more. I mean, athlete, but that doesn't sound like a guy. That sounds like a stash, like 1 year stash, and then you play him. So then, how about Mahogany out of Boston College? Because like his highlight reel might be the best highlight reel in terms of he's just getting out in space like a lunatic, knocking people
Yeah.
over, incredible ability out in space, and another intriguing type of athlete who. Well, I mean, when he misses, it's pretty noticeable because he's just trying to smack the crap out of people, and so there's sometimes some pretty big whiffs that I saw. But he's a 58th most athletic guard since 1987 per Math Bomb's RAS score, and yeah, like just a fun player. But I don't know like about the pass pro.
Yeah, I agree that his highlight reel basically like his really good reps are like really cool. I do think though that at times he struggles moving guys like he has struggled like moving like a three technique or rather like a 2-eye that he needs to wash down, so like zone away. I don't think he gets immediate movement as well as some of the other guys. That I remember thinking that. And then his
So more of
protection
a
is
more of a lunger in that sense as well.
he's not coming out real low. I mean
Yeah,
he is, you can tell that he has like he's strong but like not functionally strong in the sense that his pad level, well, yeah, it's really a pad level problem. And then in protection, he can get shook, but then he loves getting out and running. So, like, he's incredibly high effort. So, it's kind of, I see him as a third, fourth rounder that needs to be coached.
yeah, yeah. Which again, this draft, like with what we're saying about these guys, and the other thing with Mahogany, just real quick, is his injury history. Um, he missed 2022 after tearing his right ACL, so we'll have to see how that is. Something to monitor, but this draft, it kind of sounds like it would be a nice draft with the kind of athletic depth options where you have these third, fourth round picks who maybe you can stash them for a year, but you know you've got a really cool athlete who has some positives to the game, but we need to brush some stuff up. We need to get low out of our stance if we're displacing a three technique. We need to stop trying to wing it on athleticism in McCormick's case, But there's stuff there. But also a type of draft where it would be cool to almost double dip at guard and get one of the higher guys as well. So it's not for the first time. I'm kind of looking at this and I'm like, Seattle could do with one or two guards, but shame about the pick situation and the lacking of the picks.
Right.
Anyway, not much we can do about that. So, Griff, anyone else that we've missed out? I mentioned Glaze. I think he's more. Yeah, I haven't watched Maryland. I just know he's big and athletic, and there's like a theory that he's got slow feet, and so you'd put him inside. But I don't know how easy that is, given he's played every single snap and tackle. So
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
True that.
Another project. Right, so should we quickly watch the Senior Bowl, Griff?
Yeah, let's get in. Well, here, do we want to do a Senior Bowl? Do we want to do another mock draft?
Chat, you have the power right now. Chat, if you want to vote for mock draft, put the number 1 in the chat. If you want to watch Senior Bowl pass protection one-on-ones, where we'll see the likes of Jackson Powers Johnson, Christian Haynes, Isaiah Adams, Dominic Cooney.
I think Sukman decided for us.
Put number 2 in the chat. Sukman is currently ahead with the number 1s, but chat, you have the power to change that to the number 2s. That's number 1 for the mock draft. That's number 2 for the Senior Bowl tape. So there you go. Well, while we wait for that, Griff.
Yes.
The Senior Bowl was pretty impressive for Haynes. He was like,
yeah,
he wasn't being a dick to the level of damn, I forgot his name because he didn't do anything in the league yet. Shoot, Who was that tackle the Saints took? Who was like at the Senior Bowl being just flat out dirty?
Oh,
I want to
oh
say
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
I want to say it's Ramchick, but it's not.
No, 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 no. Who
It's
is that
not. I
one?
completely got the wrong name.
And he wasn't that good.
No, he wasn't. TCU, right?
What was that kid's name?
Was he TCU?
Penning.
Was he TCU?
Trevor Penning.
Purple team.
Northern Iowa.
That's right, purple team. Um, there's a NIU. There's a TCU. Crazy. Crazy. Yeah. No, yeah. But Haynes wasn't doing that. But he was ripping. He ripped the guy's helmet off, or someone ripped his helmet off, and there's some. He was finishing guys. He was a good finisher. So, well, chat. No one else has voted other than Superman. I don't know how hard this is. Like, we have 375 live viewers. Thank you, much appreciated. But only one of you's done your job. So, I guess we're going to be doing a mock draft, Griff.
All right, let's do it.
Now, the thing is, right? The thing is,
what's the thing?
We can't. Oh, Misfits just put tape.
Sorry, unfortunately, it's a first past the post type deal.
Oh, Jono. I don't actually think I can read out that username. Is that rude, Griff? Is that a rude username? Kind of seems a bit rude.
How is it rude? John O. My Todd? All right, mock draft.
John O. My Todd? I'm not gonna John O. My Todd.
No. It's I think it's like oh my Todd. Like oh my God, but oh my Todd.
Well, that is blaspheme.
Let's blaspheme with a mock draft.
Okay. Yeah, that's the popular move, isn't it? Chat, you just don't like tape, huh? Despicable. Right. Let's stick this on, shall we? Are you happy to use the no free ads Pro Football Talk mock draft, a Pro Football Network mock draft simulator? Griff.
What?
Are you happy to use that?
Yeah, I'm happy to.
Chat, we're about to mock 7 rounds, fast draft speed, Seattle Seahawks. Let's get into the mock. Wow. I'm so excited. Oh, God.
So, wait, did our guys go? Are they all gone?
Oh, well, we could take Amarius Mims again and put him at left guard. That was a good move. What about JC Latham?
I think, isn't Latham's not a guard possible option.
He's not. So, trade-off wise, we have that.
That's pretty good. I would take that. 33 and 39. But who's available? Can we hide that really quick?
Hide that, chat.
So who's available at?
So yeah, for the audio listener, we've been offered from the Panthers pick 33 and 39 and a future third for pick 16. And then available on the board, we have Dallas Turner, edge, Alabama. Wide receiver Rome Odunze out of Washington, Jared Verse, edge from Florida State, Marius Mims, offensive tackle Georgia, JC Latham, offensive tackle Alabama. Well, we could take Byron Murphy here, Griff.
We could, but so was Barton taken though? Oh no, Barton's there.
Oh, should we do Barton?
Yeah, if we're gonna stick and pick, I would do Barton.
So, go on, sell it. Look, Jody Allen. Now, this may not be accurate. We don't know. We'll have to see. Jody, she was in the draft room, so like you're on the phone, right? You're about to hand the pick in, and Jody then asks you like, who you taking? Like, how do you sell it in a sentence?
Jody, we are a forward-thinking organization. Modern game is built around the pass. This guy will help our pass protection. and pass protection will help our pass offense.
Right.
We have
And
invested so much into receiver. We don't want them to be wasted, regardless of what you
yeah,
think of Geno. This is about maximizing your investments in DK
right,
Metcalf, Tyler Lockett,
right,
Jackson Smith, and Jigba.
right. What if Jody was like, but he's a center, like the positional value, why am I paying this much money at 16 for center?
Uh,
Jody, we're playing him left guard.
yeah, left
Yeah,
guard Jody misses that
yeah.
one.
And also I think, what did Mike McDonald say when he took the reins?
We're
He wants to
chasing
be
edges. Oh,
yeah, he did say that. He did say that. Oh, we should take Jad Verse then. No, he also said they wanted to be a more physical football team, right? Or
yeah,
that was like physicality was a thing.
yeah. He's also physical. He likes
He
to
is very
finish.
physical. Okay, great.
So we're sticking and picking. So it's not going to feel great not picking the second.
It's not gonna feel great. All these names. Who even cares about the names? They're just names, you know.
Yeah.
I have a feeling chat's not gonna like this, but anyway.
All right. So
Right.
you have to pick at 81, right? So what position? Oh, Michael Hall is there.
We can just do that again.
um,
Yeah, so chat, if you want to set ground rules for like we can't take players we've taken before, that would be cool. But obviously, there's certain names. Well, should we take Hall or should we take Trevin Wallace? What about Javon Bullard?
yeah, that's interesting. If we're gonna miss out on the second round wave of back seven players, Bullard being there feels like I feel like you want to come away feeling like you took one high impact second level player that you feel really strong about.
Right, because right now the safety room in particular, as much good for them, but
Yeah,
there's not exactly. I'm not seeing necessarily massive impact right now.
right. And
Whereas
then
Bullard, in theory, you can do a bit of everything with, and he's a really smart player. And I remember being very impressed with some of his man reps in the safety episode, which disappeared.
yeah.
So are we doing that?
Well, and then so then the theory here is we would look at the fourth and fifth round type linebackers and just accept fate there.
Yeah, and when Jody asks you what you're doing here, you can be like, "Oh, we're taking people who can cover, and these linebackers can't cover." And the modern game is built on pass coverage.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so Bullard it is.
Fantastic. This is disgusting. Right. Okay. So right now, chat, we've picked Graham Barton at 16, and then at 81, Javon Bullard, and now we're up at round 4, pick 102. And on the board, there's a big shiny name in Devondre Sweat, defensive tackle out of Texas. Seattle had a top 30 visit for him. However, those visits often to gain information on guys. There's a name already, Griff, which is making me regret us taking Bullard. But anyway,
Hicks.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I was so interested to see how the league views safety. Like, obviously, we're drafting off this board.
Yeah.
I just feel like, again, it's just annoying they don't have another pick, right? Because it could be too late at 100 to get your buy. You might need to do it in the third round. But I think you can get a really intrigued. I know safety has been like, because there's a lack of the top guy or the top two guys, it's been kind of bashed in the class.
Yeah.
But the more I look at them, the more I'm like, hey, I can do something with these day two guys. Like, they have intriguing traits.
Yeah. It might have been the move to go Hall then and then have taken Hicks, but
But we've done him before.
Yeah.
We're not boring. But yes, Sweat. I just really not impressed with his technique.
I'm not either.
He was terrible at the Senior Bowl, like really bad. He's so high as well.
Yeah, true.
He's basically Brian. He's like hypebeast Brian Monet when he was coming out.
There you go. There you go.
Extreme.
Who's there at defensive tackle still though?
Well, have you? I have not actually heard of Dwayne Carter. My apologies, Dwayne.
I have. He's all right. He's
I'm sure
not
he
a
hasn't
he's not a
heard
top
me.
100 player.
You could take Wingo here, or we
I
could
would I
we
would
could probably weight that to 118. Oh, it's a
okay.
bit risky. Bit risky. Should we just take him because we like him?
Well, with there being 3 tackles in front of him, I think the algorithm will favor us.
Uh huh.
So should we flip it over
Is
to
that how it
linebacker?
works? That doesn't sound very realistic, Griff.
Yeah. But it's for the sake of the exercise, right? Well, who is there at linebacker though? We should look at that. So I would probably prioritize Wingo
Okay, let's
over with
Jalen
Jalen
Ford.
Ford being
Right.
the
Okay. So I have a cool Mackay Wingo stat. Would you like to hear it?
yes.
Well, for you to hear it, in order for you to hear it, I need to scroll down to it. Right, I found it. Mackay Wingo per Sports Info Solutions had a forced bounce percentage. The percentage of runs at the defender that didn't go through the design gap of 53%, which led names like Byron Murphy, Jason Newton, Darius Robinson, Devondre Sweat, Brandon Dorlus. It was like top of the list of names they've put in there, so that's cool. Now, forced bounce percentage, I love SIS. I like the guys there a lot. Not so sure about that as a metric necessarily, but in terms of how that matches what you see on the tape, Griff, that there might be something to that, right?
Yeah. He played a lot of 2-eye, a lot of mirror stepping, quasi 2-gapping, and he was really stout there. Very similar theory as Byron Murphy, really like a squatty, powerful, high density, explosive and quick nose tackle who, when he actually gets to play 3 technique, shows a lot of potential. He's 6 foot, like 290. So he's kind of like a Grady Jarrett-esque player. He truly is the day 2 version of Byron Murphy. So, I mean, I would, and granted, he's in the 4th round here. I think he probably goes in the 3rd round. But I would take him here.
He's also that type of player where he's only 21 years old, and yeah, he's 6 foot, 284 pounds, but that's fairly dense. And I feel like as he gets a bit older, he gets in the NFL weight room, all those cliches, but he's going to put on the mass to be able to play, the kind of plug and play. You can play him 3 tech, right? You can play him some 4-eye.
Yeah. You could.
Like year 1 though, where's he playing in Seattle? Is he like the more like the Draymond Jones type? Is he like a 5 and a 3, or is he a 3 and a 5? Griff is what I'm asking.
He's a 3 and a 5, a 3 and like his base of operations is 3 technique.
Cool.
So he's playing on guards, 1 gapping primarily in the NFL.
Yeah, and his best football should be to come, right?
I would think so. The only thing is that he doesn't have super long arms.
No, and in terms of John Schneider here, 32-inch arms, that might be too short, but are we just going to do it?
Let's do it.
Have you watched McKinley Jackson? He's just a big D tackle from the SEC.
Yeah, I did. There's not a lot going on there.
Right.
Okay, so now we should go linebacker, right?
Yeah. So the good news, I think, is that Jalen Ford's still on the board. By rhymes. By the way, Andrew Phillips out of Kentucky.
Yeah.
He was the best guy at the Senior Bowl.
Really interesting. Yeah. I remember you mentioning him actually.
Yeah. Well, I was like, I had to ask who he was because I couldn't read his number because I'm old. And then I was like, that's who he is. Yeah. He was really good.
Now, Matty, so linebacker here, Jalen Ford. But Matty, we both watched Maris Liufau. Do you think, like, how high, like, what do you think his potential is? Because he ran a 4.6, 6'2" with long arms, and he can play football.
He's a football player, absolutely a football player. And I mean, I just have the same story. Yeah. But when we watched him, when I was watching the Senior Bowl linebackers, I was like, Griff, there's a guy, like, he's so technically polished. Like feet movement, body control, but I just wasn't sure about the burst and the long speed. So, like, I mean, is he a Mike? I
I think he could.
I don't know.
It's just coverage. There's just not enough.
I don't know what the and then I wish at the Senior Bowl I'd seen a bit more of him like actually being a coverage guy. You factor in that he's a 5th-year senior.
Yeah,
It's just I just get the vibe that it's good college player, not very good.
NFL player.
Yeah, I mean 4.64
Could be.
40 is not the slowest, but and good feet. Like maybe you can just coach it up. Like basically, if he is a good like vibey character, you feel he coachable in round 4 as like a special teamer. He has 34 and a quarter inch long arms. I think you try and coach him up the coverage stuff, and he has a nose for the football. He will find the football.
Yeah.
He's really smart in terms of the run stuff and along with the body control things I mentioned, and just technically polished. But in terms of the ceiling, I'd obviously doesn't have the glitzy athleticism that we speak about.
Right.
Yeah. Whereas what's the sell on Ford over him?
Ford just displayed a little more potential in coverage is really what it is. And he has a mic frame.
Yeah. Yeah. And Seattle, the idea of Mike is, okay, they've paid Jerome Baker a bit more money. And Tyrell Dodson, yeah, he's dense, but he's not like big in terms of mic size. He's also a lesser player than Baker, I think it's fair to say. Even though he could continue the stuff which got him signed to this kind of prove it opportunity.
Yeah.
So come on then, Ford or should we we could go hipster here. We could go Mariste.
Okay, for the sake of it.
Although, so he currently on this big board, again, not really realistic because obviously when Seattle drafts, they don't have this. Mariste is 182. Our next pick's 179. We could try and wait.
We could. And then Ulofoshio would be the fallback if they're all gone. I don't know. Malik Mustafa's still there. Who's there at receiver?
Yeah, we haven't even talked receivers, have we?
Jermaine Burton is extremely talented. Cornelius Johnson's a good slot receiver. He should be ranked higher. I don't know. I think we should probably go back to linebacker and then maybe circle back to tight end receiver.
Okay. Or what about Jonah Ellis, Griff?
I could see that. But they already went D-line, and there's a lot of mouths to feed at D-line right now.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, come on then. Tell me who to pick.
All right, let's just do Marist. Marist Liufau.
Oh no. Oh no. Huh. This could be a bit rough.
Receiver, tight end. Oh, Cornelius Johnson's there. I would take him. I mean, he's a real player. He's another slot receiver, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think right now the league is headed in the direction of redundancy is actually interchangeability.
He's a slot?
If I'm remembering correctly, or am I confusing him with someone?
Isn't he like 6'3"?
Oh, you're right. I'm confusing him with someone else. Who am I
He blocks his ass off. But he's like more like a DK mirror, no? He's like the X.
Oh shit. Who? Oh, I'm thinking of Roman Wilson. My bad.
Right.
I'm thinking of Roman Wilson.
Maybe not that.
Then tight end then.
Okay. Everyone will tell us to take Tip Ryman, Griff.
All right, let's do it then.
He can't block.
We'll coach him up.
We'll coach him. Well, he's got the athletic traits. He's got the want. We just need to get him not standing up out of his stance. Okay. What's this now? I'm kind of lost here, Griff. We took Mohamed Kamara last time. And that's something we should talk about. Like the Ravens had kind of a history of taking these like athletic edges and
Yeah.
getting special teams and then getting some like pass rush rotation from their speed stuff.
But to be honest, they have more luck with the 260, 270 pound guys over the years that have a trait or two, but then lacking another trait in particular.
Right. Hopefully Schneider learns from that. I actually don't know what we're doing here.
Let's go BPA. That would probably be Randolph Jr., but what about Josh Proctor? OSU safety.
Really?
6'1", 200. He likes height at safety. Who's there at corner?
I love that. You're like 6'1". He's like, yeah, that's tall. He's above 6 foot. So yeah, let's take a 6th year senior who was at the Senior Bowl and yeah. Who's at corner? I don't know any of these people.
DeCamerion Richardson.
Uh-huh.
I would bet on that. 6'2", 190.
Yeah. Mississippi State, SEC football.
All right.
He ran a 4.34 40 with 32 and 3/8 inch long arms. And was a 2-year starter and had 0 college interceptions. He also had a 6.9 6-second 3-cone at 6'2". That's not terrible.
Mm-mm.
Right. What are we doing here, Griff? 7th round.
They visited with Quantez Stickers.
We can't take another corner.
Let's look at edge.
Okay, yeah. Talk me through some of these 7th round edges. This is your wheelhouse, right?
Watching none of these guys. Oh, Braden McGregor. I know that name.
Yeah? Well, tell me about Braden.
Braden, if he's the number that I think he is. Okay. So he's like a rotational edge. He's undersized, 17. Well, no, he's 6'6", 267. Special teamer at worst, I think. Oh, Jalen Harrell. I would take Jalen Harrell. The other Michigan guy. He can actually rush a little bit as like a depth pass rusher.
Nice.
He can rush a little bit. He definitely popped when watching Michigan.
And that's not like a hot take that you're wanting to take him over.
No, he got better every year too.
Okay, and in terms of the athletic testing, Harrell had 33 and a quarter inch long arms, so tick, 164 second 10-yard split. He's only a junior. Great, and he had 7.5 sacks last year in the Big Ten. Griff, I love this.
Boom.
Well, what a draft. What an absolutely great draft that is.
That is a solid draft. I'd give this like a B overall.
Considering what we're trying to do here.
And I think we need to prep for this. I think there's a strong chance they're not able to trade back.
Yeah.
And
we were left in a spot where... Wait, didn't we have Odunze as an option?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think we did. No. Yeah, we were left in a spot where Barton, he was kind of the best player available.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Especially for need, so.
So I would eat this draft. I'd be like, all right, that's fine. I'll accept it.
You'll accept it. You'll allow it.
I'll allow it.
You won't storm the VMAC.
No.
Right. Do you want to do one more? Should we call it a wrap?
We got to call it a wrap, I think.
Okay. Well, there you go, chat. We'll be back Obviously, it is actually the draft on Thursday.
That's wild. So are we recording again this week? Or are we waiting until the draft?
It's whether you can. It's whether you can find the time.
I could do it Tuesday or Wednesday. So Schneider mentioned how teams this year seem like they want to settle trades before the draft, before draft day.
Okay, so maybe
we should do Tuesday or Wednesday.
Maybe we should do Wednesday then, just to see if they've done a trade or something.
Yeah, or even like other teams and how that might affect Seattle, and then do like one more like draft stuff. But we got to get Ty on for the one before the draft. Come on, Ty.
We do. Come on, Ty.
Ty, if you're listening, we love you.
And absolutely. And Sookman asking, are we going to be live for the draft? I mean, we could
try to be. It's kind of what we did last year.
It's weird timing. We'll go live at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably after, just to react to the pick, right?
Yeah. Yep. All
Henry
right.
asking, if we're picking at 16, who are your top 5? Griff. Top 5 picking at 16.
Wait. What's the question? If we're picking at okay, my top 5. So my top 5, Barton, for like realistic, like plausible, right? Fautanu, Barton, Newton,
Odunze.
Why not? Honestly, that's just.
He went 17 in that mock. We did have an option to take him.
And then I throw in Murphy. You know what? I kind of want to say Bowers. I just think he's a freak.
Yeah, so in that past mock, Odunze went 17. Bowers went... Oh, he went 7. Okay. Where did Byron Murphy go? Oh, never mind. Wait. Yeah, Byron Murphy fell out the first round in that mock we just did. Which I actually can see Newton sliding with the medical and like the lack of testing, and then I can see it happening, even though it'd be ridiculous. So, something to monitor. Right. Well, we'll be back Wednesday then with maybe some news with the Seahawks, or if not, we can do some sort of favourite players in the draft talk, what we're hoping for from the draft, and maybe another mock draft or 2 as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us live. I know it's short notice, but we'll see you Wednesday, we'll see you Thursday, we'll see you Friday, Saturday, throughout the draft as well. Hope you're all excited. Follow Griff on Twitter at CMikeSpinMove. Follow me, Matty F. Brown. Follow the pod at Seattle Overload. Check out my work at SeahawksOnTape.com. Griff, you have anything else you want to plug?
No.
Check out Griff's draft rankings on his Twitter as well.
Matty,
yep.
Have you watched Shogun yet? I really
give the show a 5-star review as well, please, on good podcast apps. Tell a friend about it. Griff, I haven't watched Shogun.
Sorry for interrupting you.
It's okay. No, it's fine. Don't worry. It's a podcast.
I want your take on John Blackthorne's accent.
Wait, hang on. You didn't tell me there's an offensive accent.
No, it's not offensive.
Well, you can judge that, can you? I don't think you're in the position. Sounds like it might be a British accent.
There is a British accent involved. He's English.
Did you watch the clip I sent you and Bryce of the Man City fan?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yep, that was good stuff.
Culture. That is culture. Chat, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Man City played Real Madrid, and some Man City fan, basically in soccer, the home fans and the away fans, they sit like next to each other, and every time, I took my girlfriend to a Newcastle game. We're in the away end, and there's like a bloke stood next to us, and he's leaning over both of us and pointing at Norwich fans, and they're pointing back at us. He's like doing like throat slitting gestures, calling them like the very bad C word, right? And then apologizing to my girlfriend while then going back to them like, hurling abuse at them. Anyway, there's this video of this Man City fan who's like doing it to Real Madrid fans, and he's just off his head, mate, off
Love
his
it.
head.
Culture.
And they lost on penalties. Anyway. Anyway, sorry, I got completely distracted. British accent from Blackthorn, did you say?
Yeah, John Blackthorne in Shogun. All right, that's a wrap. Hit it.
Yeah, that was a wrap. That was a good anti. What's a preamble? An anti-amble? An after-amble?
An epilogue. Prologue, epilogue.